In this video, I will be talking about the Three Kingdoms period of China, focusing on the many talented heroes of that time. Dian Wei. His date of birth is unknown, but he famously died in the year 197 while serving as Cao Cao's bodyguard. Known for his incredible strength, his weapons of choice were either two swords or two Gs, which are kinda like halberds. It is said that each one weighed 24 kilograms, which is pretty unbelievable, although heavier swords have been lifted. In his youth, his community knew him as loyal, reliable, and hard-working. He aspired to become a vigilante, and eventually earned himself the nickname the Coming Evil. One of his early exploits recalls a family requesting his help for revenge against a certain former county chief. The chief had bodyguards with him at all times, so Dian Wei dressed himself as a marquis and acquired a carriage filled with food and wine. With this, he was then allowed into the house. He walked straight up to the target, killing him and his wife with a dagger. He then went back to the carriage to get his Gs and simply left. News quickly spread of the bloody event, which angered the townsfolk. Hunting for Dian Wei's head, a gathering of around 100 men had shown up to confront him, but none of them actually dared to approach him. Dian Wei quietly left to report back to the family. Some townsfolk had pursued him further and a small fight broke out, but luckily nobody was killed, so some people saw Dian Wei as a hero after this incident. In 190, Dian Wei signed up to join the anti-Dongjian alliance. Dian's regional official had marched to the aid of Cao Cao in one of the first conflicts against the tyrant. On a considerably windy day at camp, a flag had fallen over and many men were struggling to get it to stand upright. Dian Wei casually walked over to it, and with only using one hand carried it back and held it in position to stand up properly. Many officers at camp had noticed this and were all impressed by it, especially Cao Cao, who was always seeking out people of talent. After the coalition had failed, Dian Wei found himself serving under Zizhi Dun, one of Cao Cao's cousins. His valour in battles earned him a promotion to major while serving under him. A tremendous battle was fought in the year 194 between Cao Cao and Lu Bu that lasted over 100 days. The outcome was indecisive as famine had struck both sides, but Dian Wei managed to save his lord during an engagement, earning himself a promotion to commandant. His new unit was 100 strong and were responsible for Cao Cao's life, soon becoming his personal bodyguard. He managed to save Cao Cao after a successful night raid on one of Lu Bu's camps. The army were heading back to base, where they were caught off guard by reinforcements led by Lu Bu himself. Dian Wei rallied the nearby men around him. He commanded them to equip an extra layer of armour and discard their shields, replacing it with an extra sword or G. Together they stopped Lu Bu's reinforcements from advancing. Even whilst under fire from enemy archers, they stood their ground until sunrise. It is said that Dian Wei even resorted to throwing Gs at the enemy. For the next 3 years, Dian Wei served his lord well. He earned a reputation for being loyal, responsible, and prudent, as he rarely returned to his own quarters. Instead, he could be found standing guard at Cao Cao's tent all night until morning, or if he needed the rest, sleeping behind it. Many servants would bring him food to satisfy his large appetite. It is said that he ate in huge mouthfuls and drank in long gulps. His unit was known for almost always being the first to charge into the enemy formations, so he hand-selected each soldier himself to determine if they were up to the task. The men of the army had a saying about him: "In our camp resides the warrior Dian Wei, who wields a pair of Gs weighing 80 jin in total." To say Cao Cao was pleased with Dian Wei would be an understatement. Dian Wei was promoted to colonel during this 3-year period. In the year 197, Cao Cao marched again, this time to warlord Zhang Ziyu's territory, specifically Wan Castle. To Cao's surprise, Zhang surrendered without a fight, so a banquet was held to celebrate. But the air was sour, apparent by the fact that Zhang Ziyu's men could not face looking up as they toasted to Cao Cao as ruler. It is said Dian Wei stood behind Cao Cao all evening, guarding him with a giant battle axe, the blade alone measuring 1/3 of a metre. For 10 days the armies mixed and bonded, then suddenly on the 10th day an attack was launched against Cao Cao's camp. Dian Wei was at the main entrance with 12 other men. They were approached by some of Zhang's soldiers, who caught them off guard and killed them. Dian suffered injuries but kept fighting, just about managing to prevent anyone else entering the camp. The attackers had to go around him and enter the camp from different directions, but by this time Cao Cao had just about escaped with only a few horsemen. Dian Wei honoured his duty and stayed behind until the bitter end. He was inevitably surrounded and killed. Only when he was confirmed dead did anyone dare approach his body to behead him. Upon reaching safety, Cao Cao is said to have broke down in tears, telling his followers, "I don't feel very sad over the loss of my eldest son, Cao Ang, and my favourite nephew, Cao An Min. I'm only mourning Dian Wei."